YouTube, it's Tracy from Entrepreneur Girl, and today we are finishing off our series on online arbitrage for book sourcing. And this is our third video out of 3 videos, and we're going to be talking about just a few advanced techniques or tips that you can use when doing online arbitrage for this. Hope it helps. The first thing we're going to talk about is thinking outside the box, because there are places that most everybody considers, and then there are places that almost no one considers. And most everyone will go to garage sales knowing that those are probably absolutely the best prices that you can get on books. They also will go to thrift stores because, again, it's good prices. Everyone talks about the book sales, library sales, and we all talk about buying in bulk. So no matter where you go, whether it's at a garage sale and you're buying all the books that they have there, or if you're talking to a manager at a thrift store to get access to the back room and buy, books in bulk there, everybody pretty much does those same things. But there are other considerations that not everyone does do. It takes a little bit more effort, but you can score really big. One of these would be a school book depository. Most every county has one of these, but I just did a Google search for the ones in my state. The reason why these are important is any type of school, when they finish with a curriculum or when they finish with a certain edition of a textbook, they will put it into these depositories and order the new stuff, the new books. And so you can have access to this potentially if you can make the right connections and if in fact they have books sitting there that they want to offload. In the same regard, many private schools, private Christian schools, might have books sitting around, old editions, when they change their curriculum over, that they just really don't know what to do with. Or they'll advertise it and try to sell it to other schools, other smaller schools. But you can jump in on all of this opportunity and have access to really good textbooks for a very small amount of money. Other places to think about is college towns. They're huge. It's amazing what these college kids will throw in the trash, not only just with regular arbitrage items, but also their books. I don't know if these items aren't being purchased back with their buyback options at the school or what, but you will find multitudes of items in the trash when semesters are ending and college kids are moving back home for the summer and they're moving out of their dorms. And outside of the buyback at the college is also an opportunity because not all books are bought back. If this college has changed editions, changed a curriculum in any way, a lot of times they will not repurchase those older books back. So you standing outside, if they'll let you, or you posting flyers on cork boards or passing out flyers or giving flyers to professors, or maybe even the buyback bookstore will allow you to do it and just have it by the register for those students that are disappointed that they can't have their books purchased back. They can simply hand them a flyer and there you are with your contact information saying that you want to buy these books. And the last place that I wanted to touch on is recycle centers. A lot of recycling in your area could have a book area. They're not all the same, but I have found quite a few that save books in a particular area, and you can contact them. It's just a couple of phone calls, ask if they have this, if you can come, and if they would be available for you to purchase. So just kind of to get your thought processes going for odd places to find books, that would be it. I've even gotten curriculum out of dumpsters before behind a Goodwill. It's like they didn't know what to do with it, so they just put it beside the dumpster, and then I just came and got it all for free. So you just have to think outside the box, not like all the other resellers are thinking, and you would have access to a lot of potential. The next thing I wanted to talk to you about is outsourcing where and when you can. you will eventually max out the amount of time that you have in a given day to source for inventory, and then your business will either cap out or you will have to outsource some things, add some employees, figure out a way to then again stretch your company and grow your company to the next level. And one way that you can do this is by hiring buyers, also called sourcers, to go out and source your inventory. One of the tools that would be really helpful for this is a seller tool. You've heard me talk about a seller a long time ago in my video on scanning apps. And one of the things about a seller tool that kind of makes it unique is these packages that they offer where you can have these little handy scanners, and it's preloaded with the Amazon database that you just have to update before you head out, to make sure you have the newest database. But you can hand one of these to your employees and they can scan if they don't have a smartphone, or if it's not fast enough, because these are very quick, or if you just want them to have everybody's using the same thing. So these little scanners they can take with them. You can give them a list of parameters that you want for a purchasing decision, and if it meets that, then they will purchase the book. So I wanted to show you this as an indicator. If you are going to outsource with a buyer, you can also do the same with a lister. A lot of us like to shop. We like that hunt and finding these good treasures. And so many people will get listers where they can actually do the cleaning and the listing and the shipping to the Amazon warehouse, because that's not as fun for some of us. Other places, there are companies that will pretty much do all of this for you. You can basically have a book business and never even touch a book, which is pretty cool, as long as you can pay for it, and books can pay for all of this overhead. But there are companies out there that will do the same thing. The next tip is the times of the year. Obviously, curriculum for grade school children, like homeschooling curriculum, sells better in the summer. It may sell all year round, but normally you are buying all year round because you're going to find, much lower prices, and then you're going to sell in the summer because that's when all the parents are buying before the start of the next school year. It's the same with everything. Textbooks for college, around college semesters, it's going to be selling like hotcakes. So you can buy it, for pennies sometimes throughout the year. And then come July, August, or December, January, you're really selling these textbooks at a high rate of speed and for a really good profit margin. A weight loss or any type of, workout program, those do really well in January because of all the New Year's resolutions, right? And then the holiday cookbooks, of course, would sell better during the holidays. So trying to sell it off holidays, it's not going to sell as well. That's time that you buy. And so knowing these buying, selling cycles is really important. And it just takes a moment of thought, to really think about the common sense with this. The next advanced trick that we're going to talk about are different sites that can really help you. This half.com is owned by eBay. This is one you should definitely check out. Same with pals.com. eBay, if you look up lots of nonfiction books, this is very specific language to eBay, is using this word lots. But you can buy wholesale lots of books, or you can look specifically for nonfiction books, or you can look for textbooks, or any keywords that you want here, and you can buy them on eBay and then break them up individually and then sell them individually on Amazon. Of course, Amazon itself, which we always talk about, but people forget that there's Amazon not just in the States, but there's Amazon Mexico, there's Amazon Europe, which is right here, and you can look through not just Amazon, but any international site, any international book selling company, and turn a profit, perhaps. If it's low enough, maybe it's not as popular in these countries, these books, which, by the way, I love Online Arbitrage by Chris Green, which is why I'm using it as an example, because I like this book, but maybe it's not as popular in Europe, and I can purchase it for a much, smaller price, and then I can turn around and sell it here in the States, and even though I had to have it shipped to me from Europe, there's still a margin there. And that's what you have to determine. And that's, what you're researching when you're looking at all these different international sites. But a lot of resellers that I meet, they don't even think about looking international. Which brings me to this site. This is the add-all extension, and this shows prices on many international sites. Like I said, you might be able to find a book for $10 or $20, overseas, and you can turn around and sell it on Amazon for $60, $80, something like that. How many? This is a pretty cool browser extension, and this will tell you your competition, how many copies of the same book that they have. So if you're trying to figure out pricing and you're not really sure how to price it, there's one person that's kind of lowballed everybody else. You could just ignore him and price more compatible with everybody else. But what if he has 100 copies of this book? It may take you a really long time to sell your book. So this extension helps you determine how many of a book, how many of a particular item this competition of mine might have. Last video, I talked about Camel, 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 which I like because it's completely free. And this is Keepa, which is kind of along the same lines. Keepa gives you all that history that we talked about with Camel, Camel, Camel. What I like about Keepa is that you can stay on the page that you're on, looking at your product, and access this. You don't have to switch to another page, to another tab. Another thing that I like is that you can set up alerts with this. So say I'm looking at a book, but it's a little bit more than I want to pay. I can set up an alert that if the price goes down to where I want it, then it will notify me. But there is a small fee with this, so that's the downer, but it's very popular. Thing that a lot of people don't know about is Amazon has a textbook trade-in or book trade-in program that you can take part of. Now, this is for store credit, but if you're a reseller, you use your store credit because you can just turn around and buy items to arbitrage. To use this would be to go ahead, just like we did before, and in this box, in the search bar, just go ahead and type in a keyword, narrow down your results a little bit, and you can see it'll bring up a list of books that Amazon is willing to give you store credit for. And that's kind of cool because you will see the amount that is guaranteed to you that if you can find that book and send it into Amazon within the next 2 weeks. So I can know what I'm going to be paid, a guaranteed paid amount, in 2 weeks if I can do that book. And then I can go and look on eBay, or I can use my add-all extension, and I can search for this book and see if I can basically do kind of a reverse arbitrage. Again, if you can find a copy, any copy of that book anywhere on the internet for a lower amount, then you essentially get to pocket the difference in credit. This is not something I use a lot because the margins are smaller, and I just don't really like doing this, but I don't want to just make videos about what I like. I want to present everything to you, and so that you can make your own decisions. But a lot of people don't even know about this. So, get in there, check it out, and maybe you will find something that you don't have a lot of other resellers doing, which gives you an upper hand. So, hey, why not? Check it out and make your own opinion. And then the FBA calculator. Again, I used an example of a book that I really like. Hint, hint. If you want to read these books, I just think that they're very helpful. Say this book, I could price it on Amazon for $19.99. I have no idea because I didn't look it up. I just kind of filled that in. And then I can also turn around and ship this to Amazon. It will cost me 50 cents. Once I hit calculate, it's going to come up with these numbers for me, and it will tell me exactly what my net profit is going to be. So once you go on Amazon and determine what you can list it for, And for books, for me, it's about 50 cents a piece if they're, heavier, bigger book, 25 cents if they're a smaller, lighter book. That's how I calculate it anyway. And then I click calculate, and it's very specific about what my net margin is, what my net profit is, and what all my Amazon fees are going to be. So this is a very useful tool, so there aren't any surprises. You can use it to know whether you want to purchase a book or not. Okay, so now we're going to get into a few extensions that you may not know about. Okay, Book Burrow is one of these. This is a Firefox extension. You'll need to look and see if you're using Chrome, if you're using Firefox, whatever you're using, you want to make sure that these extensions that I'm talking about are compatible with your browser extension. But what this does is it compares the book that you're looking at, wherever you're looking at it, across several other book selling sites, including half.com and Pals, which I just showed you. So it's not as extensive as this add-all that I told you about, but the benefit is still there, and everything appears in this like really simple drop down menu. So it's worth looking at both of these. You've seen me use this one before. This is my Unicorn Smasher extension. And if I'm looking at yoga mats, for example, on Amazon, and I click on this, it analyzes the data, and it will, show me the mat, but then it will tell me who, the brand that it is, how many sellers are on that particular brand, how many like color or size variations they have, the price, the category, the rank. You can see where this will be really useful information on any particular product. And I use this one all the time, and it's free. I have a whole video on this if you're interested to take a peek. I will try to remember to put that in the box below in the description so that you can just click on it. But I really like Unicorn Smasher. While I'm here, I want to talk to you about Publisher. So I'll go back to books since that's what we're dealing with. We're not dealing with yoga mats. Okay, so teaching textbooks is a math curriculum that I really like with the homeschooling community. Say I'm going to go into books because that's what this is. I just want to deal with the books, and then I can hit my advanced search like we talked about in the previous video. Then I could just put in, a publisher, and then that's all that will come up. Another thing that I like to do, that I do sometimes, especially at the end of a school year, is there will be a homeschooling parent that will be selling all of their homeschooling stuff. And it's kind of like when you go to a garage sale and you find that the whole garage sale seems to be underpriced, and you get a lot of good deals. You spend a lot of time there, you spend a lot of money there because their prices are so great. You really want to capitalize on that opportunity. Well, the same can be found here online. You just go to the sold by and you click on the person, and then you can go to their products tab, and you can see what other products that they have for sale. So this comes in helpful to me sometimes, especially if it's a parent that's selling all of their homeschooling curriculum. Maybe they're just trying to offload it. They're not really a full-time reseller per se, and they don't have it priced at maximum prices. They haven't, they just don't know the game well enough, and they haven't priced it accordingly. And then I find them, or maybe accidentally find them, and I'm like, hey, wait a minute. So then I can go to their other products and I can see, oh yeah, they've really underpriced everything. And then I can just, click and add all of these things to the cart if, they were profitable to resell. Which brings me to another thing while we're here, this feedback. The more feedback that you have, the number of reviews often correlates directly to how often a book is selling. Now, I use teaching textbooks because of this next point that I wanted to make with you. Teaching textbooks has a newer model called the 2.0. And they'll say that it's a little bit out of my price range. Like, okay, I just don't want to spend $140 on this CD set. So I just want to go back an edition. When it comes to textbooks, for some reason, they think they have to have the newest version or they can't sell it. The same with curriculum. And that's really not true. A lot of people are looking to save a couple of dollars and get the previous editions. As long as it's within like the last 10 years, if I'm looking at these, I'm looking for some books to arbitrage and I'm going, yeah, that's really kind of out of my ballpark, then the next thing I would do is maybe go back and change the edition. Go back a year. If you're at the fourth edition, check out the third edition. In this case, I would not do the 2.0, and I can see, the price differences on, going back in addition. Okay, $20, that's more, $30, that's more my style. And then I can see if there's profits to be made at this lower level. And so while we're on this topic, I do want to show you that this advanced search tool, we talked about the keywords last video, but the last tip I wanted to leave you with is negative keywords. A negative keyword is simply that you put the little negative mark, the minus mark, no space, no space, and do that 2.0. So say I was looking for the publisher of teaching textbooks, but I did not want those 2.0s to show. I already knew that they were too expensive, or maybe I already had too much in inventory, or whatever my reason was that I did not want those 2.0s. I would put them as a negative keyword here. I would put what I was searching for there, and then you just scroll down and hit search. And what this will do is now all the pages of search results that come up will not have that 2.0 in it. So I've used my negative keyword to help me eliminate books that I already know I don't want to search for. Can you use regular keywords to search or to narrow your search, but you can use negative keywords as well. So that was my last advanced tip for you.
Well, guys, I hope that was useful to you. I hope you learned a couple of things that you could incorporate into your book buying business. And if you haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe down below. I love to see that our YouTube family continues to grow. I love being a part of this journey with you, and I will talk to you next video. Bye, guys.